Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to do and change the AC compressor on a 2004 Volkswagen Beetle TDI. Now this should probably be the same for all 99 through 2005 Volkswagens, including Passats, Jettas, and all that, because they all use the same AC compressor. So I'll show you the whole process of including doing a vacuum and checking for leaks and everything like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is disconnect the battery, since I do have to remove the alternator. So I'll go ahead and disconnect the positive battery terminal. And you can disconnect the negative also, but you know, it's the same either way. Okay, I got the battery disconnected. The next thing I'm going to do is remove this turbo pipe. So that's really easy. What you do is you just remove these clips from right here. And just be careful not to lose them, because they can come flying off if you're not careful. And they're a little tricky to get off. Just, you know, they want to stay on there, but that's their job. So there we go. And this just comes out. It's a little tricky for me because I'm only using one hand, but it's gonna be the one right there, that connection. There's another one back here. Pretty straightforward thing. No, and sometimes you can just get it out a little bit like that, and the whole pipe will come out, and then that way you can just pop it back in and the whole pipe will go back in a lot easier. So there we go, there it is. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the serpentine belt. So the tensioner is right there, and what you do is you grab a wrench. It's a 16 millimeter, but I'm using a 5/8, and it works just as well. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna pull backwards towards you, and sorry for the bad angle. They'll pull back towards you, just like that, and then the serpentine belt will be loose. And so then you just kind of take it off any way you can, and it's off. And now the tensioner is going to want to, go back to its natural position. Just do it slowly. Don't just release it, because then things will go flying where you don't want them to. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to take off is the tensioner itself. Now it's just going to be these 3 bolts that you see here. Those 3. And those are the 13 millimeter wrench. Alright, so here's our tensioner. And just remember to keep the bolts together. Okay, so the next thing to come out is going to be the alternator. That's removed by disconnecting this plug right here. And the ground cable, which is back here, that's a 13 millimeter bolt. And by also loosening, then taking off that bolt right there and that one down there. Okay, so I got the 2 bolts off that hold on the alternator. Now this alternator can be a little tricky to take out. So what you're going to do is stick a flathead screwdriver right there in the gap and just pry it off like that. Okay, and after you pry it off like that, it'll take some wiggling, but it'll come out. And the reason that it's like that is because right here, this like tightens it, and it makes it, so it doesn't move, since it's only held on by 2 bolts. So it has one down there and one right here at the top. Okay, so we got the alternator off. The next thing is there's a bolt right there. I'm pretty sure it's a 17 millimeter. There's gonna be one there should be one at the bottom also. And after that, we'll flip the compressor face down so we can remove the lines back here. These 2. Okay, so I got the 2 bolts off that are holding the compressor. They actually turned out to be a 16 millimeter. So now we're gonna do the same as we did with the alternator. We have to stick the screwdriver in there and pry it out. And you can see that it's moving. And then that'll free our compressor so that we can loosen the lines. Okay, so I got the compressor off. Something else I had to do was remove this coolant hose that goes to the thermostat. So now over here, it's this one. You'll see it. But So now I'm gonna proceed to remove the actual AC lines, which you can see are these two right here. And I believe they're gonna be a 6mm Allen head bolt. So I'll keep going. Okay, so we got the new compressor in. Remember that you do sometimes have to fill these compressors with oil. I didn't videotape that part, but also I had to change the pigtail that came on this compressor to the pigtail that I had on my original compressor because they were different. It's not a hard modification, you know, you just gotta solder them and then put some heat shrink around them so it's a good solid connection. Now what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna tighten the hoses. Make sure you still had your O-rings on there and make sure that's still good. After I tighten the hoses, I'm gonna tighten the compressor bolts back up. And after that, we're gonna put the alternator back on and start rebuilding everything. Okay guys, so I got the compressor back on like I just said. And I hooked up the lines, you know, your low side and your high side, you know, low and high pressure. And I got the gauges here. And by the looks of it, I'm holding vacuum. And you have to do this when you put Freon in the system after emptying it because you have to take out the humidity and all that. So if you go to AutoZone, they'll actually rent you these gauges for, you know, what the price is in case you keep them. And also the vacuum pump. These are two things that you need to be able to complete this job. The gauges run about $100 and the vacuum pump I think 150, maybe a little less, I don't know, it's been a while since we bought that one. But what's next is I just had to tighten up the bolts for the compressor, and I did the vacuum test beforehand in case I had to, you know, take it off again and take out the O-rings and replace them and all that. So that's what I'll do next is tighten down the compressor and go from there. Alright, so got the compressor all tightened down. Remember to plug it in. So next what we're going to do is we're going to put the alternator back on and tighten that down. After that the tensioner and then the serpentine belt. Okay, so I got the car all put back together. You can see we have our hoses hooked up. This is our low side right here. The high side is back in there. I don't know if you can see it right here. And then you can see down there, I'm trying to get a good angle of it, that the compressor is down there working and everything. And here you can see our pressures. You want to have your low side at around 30 to 35 psi and your high side around 150 to 200. Also just depending on how much Freon you put in here. And I believe this car takes 700 grams of Freon, which comes out to be at about 2 cans. And then we'll come check out the car in here, and you can see you want to make sure it's on max AC, so you know both buttons clicked in and on cold, so that you know the compressor's working as hard as it can, so you can get all the Freon that you need to in there. But we have a cold, fresh air now, so the car is fixed. And easy ways to tell that if it's your compressor, if it's running but it's not getting cold, that's one symptom. Or you'll hear it lock up, or you know, there's a lot of different ways to tell it's the compressor, but those are the two main ones. So hopefully you're able to diagnose it also through this video. But that's all that there really is to it. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe, as I have other projects going on at the same time, and I'll have other general maintenance things going on.